Well, good morning, friends. Thank you very much for joining us on Tim Newton today. Great to have you with us. This is our 4th program. Good heavens, we're still going. And we're going to be doing this daily show 5 days a week. Then hopefully on the weekend, we're going to be able to get the opportunity to have a one-on-one with you. And I'm aiming at doing that perhaps next weekend, not this coming weekend. I have to reach a certain amount of views and hours here on YouTube before I can do a live program. So I'm just waiting for that to happen. Thank you very much to the people that have subscribed to the program. Now, a little bit later, we're going to have a talk about a scam which has been emerging. I've known this about this for about 3 or 4 weeks. However, it's been very difficult to get anybody to go on the record with the story, but I will be covering that big scam that's emerging not only here in Phuket, but in other parts of Thailand as well, a bit later on in the program. But I'm going to get started today with, probably one of the ongoing big stories in the region. And of course, we're talking about China and Taiwan. Now, China, in the wake of Nancy Pelosi, the House Speaker in the United States, she had a visit to Taiwan a couple of weeks ago, and it caused a lot of discussion in China. And now China has released a white paper on Taiwan, warning it will not tolerate Taiwan separatists. Now, just a quote from this white paper: "We will work with the greatest sincerity and exert our utmost efforts to achieve peaceful reunification, but we will not renounce the use of force." And this is the sentence I suppose everybody wants to read. "And we reserve the option of taking all necessary measures," it said. Now, the white paper really is just an update to earlier white papers it's issued about its position on Taiwan, saying it's seeking reunification. And this white paper just reminding people that they're using those terms. Again, we will not renounce the use of force. So there you have a sort of a reaffirmation of China's intent to reunify with Taiwan by force if necessary, as it says, and the issuing of this white paper following the visit of Nancy Pelosi to Taiwan. Thailand's played a very careful game with this for a long time. It's been great friends with the United States, and it's been great friends with China. Remembering, of course, that the former king of Thailand, King Bhumibol Adulyadej, was in fact born in the United States. So the relationship between the United States and Thailand is strong, as is the relationship between China and Thailand at the moment. And as far as I'm concerned, I hope that situation continues, because it does bring at least continued peace in that particular realm to Thailand. All right, to our next story today. And this is, a bit of an ongoing story, because we've had the protests before. Now, these protests started emerging during the COVID-19 pandemic. In fact, in August in 2020, when protests started, they were both anti-government protests, and I suppose you could call them anti-establishment, and also pro-democracy, and, I'm trying to say this politely, not necessarily anti-monarchy, but certainly trying to call attention to the position of the Thai monarchy in the Thai constitution. So yesterday there was not so much a protest, but a bit of a sit-in, a rally at the Thammasat University. And as you can see, it was not necessarily hugely well attended, but this was reported in Thai PBS World, which is a government outlet. Now, curiously, there was not a word about it in the Bangkok Post or The Nation, both government-leaning publications. So, okay, that's their decision. Omission is as much of a statement as is inclusion. But I went to another, let's just have a look. They were talking about in the Thai PBS story that there was about the August the 10th announcement of the 10 demands for reform to the monarchy. Now, at the time, this was pretty serious stuff, because never publicly in the past had anybody stood up with the cameras rolling and thousands of people watching and made comments calling for the monarchy to be reformed in Thailand. It was unheard of. So I went a bit further and I started having a look at all the other publications. The only one I could really find, where are we? Here we are. was the Thai Inquirer. Thought, well, okay, they're about as left-leaning as you can get as far as publications in Thailand are concerned. So I had a really good look down its website, and no, there was nothing there. And I kept on looking, and no, a little bit about Prayut and his stance on whether he should be the Prime Minister or not. The fact that it was discussed in a drafting committee, the whole stuff about COVID-19, but nothing about the protests. So I found this quite interesting that even the Thai Inquirer didn't find space on its publication to discuss the anniversary 2 years ago of when that announcement was made. Actually, I sort of recall that it was made in July of 2020. This August the 10th date, which seems to be the date that they're going to try and immortalise, I sort of recall it was all happening in July in 2020, but my memory is fading. I'm sure their memory is much better than mine. To another story today, and we've got the Tham Luang Caves. This, of course, happened back in 2018, when 12 young footballers and their coach were trapped by rising waters in the twisted depths of Tham Luang Cave, triggering a drama that drew worldwide attention. Now, in fact, there's been quite a few movies already made. I've listed 13 Lives, which is a new one, just out by Ron Howard. The Cave, which I saw and I really enjoyed. No, that one was the first one. Didn't really enjoy that. The one I really enjoyed was on Netflix. I was at Disney. Looking over at my TV. I think it was on Disney, and it was called The Rescue. Now, that one was certainly well worth seeing. I haven't seen 13 Lives yet, but they've just opened up a what you would call an exhibition. Interestingly, with this, I noticed that they're not allowing people to actually go into the cave due to limited parking facilities to handle the high tourist demand. Really? So you can go up to Tham Luang, which is about an hour's drive out of Chiang Rai, and you can go and visit this new multi-billion baht exhibition centre, but you can't actually go into the caves. They're sort of sealed off. I noted that it's going to look something like this. So interesting design that they've sort of chosen. I don't really think you're going to see that hot air balloon or necessarily that flock of birds. But it looks like if you want to go up to Tham Luang and see or experience something of what it might have felt like to be stuck in those caves, you're not really going to get that experience. But they're promising a lot of exhibits and a feeling of what it was like to be in the caves in amongst some of the displays. So interesting that that's opened up, and they're trying to turn the drama of the rescue 4 years ago into a money-making tourist location. The question is, will you go and visit that? I would like to go up to Chiang Rai and actually visit the area, although I would feel inclined to at least want to go to the entrance of the Tham Luang Caves and ponder the plight of those 13 young men. But apparently you're not allowed to do that, but you'll be able to go and experience this wondrous building instead. Thanks for being on Tim Newton Today, our fourth program today, and we really appreciate the people that have commented. I'm going to go through some of the comments from yesterday in relation to the proposed 45-day visa, but thank you very much to Martin Carlisle, who sent this photo yesterday of the TNT bar up in Pattaya, and obviously they pinched the name from me, so I don't know how that happened, but thank you very much to Martin for sending that in. Also, something that I noted yesterday whilst looking for a photo of Thailand's Public Health Minister, and where is this photo? You'll love this. Check this out on Wikipedia. Anutin PM-designate, and here we have Prime Minister-designate of Thailand. Now, I'm not sure how that got in there. Of course, anybody can go in and edit Wikipedia, but somebody's been a little bit naughty. I went back in there this morning and that had been removed. But fancy wanting to find a photo of Anutin and finding Prime Minister-designate of Thailand. I can assure you that is not the case. I've got a bit more to say about Anutin a bit later. But just very quickly, I want to talk about a big visa scam that has been uncovered. Now, at the moment, it involves some 200 people who have been using a visa agent, or it really looks like it's a series of visa agents, and they've paid a lot of money to get their visas processed or renewed or extended, and these people have taken their money and run. Now, the problem is that a lot of these people who have used these agents are using them to extend visas or to fix up problems they had with their visa. Visa agents are very effective for pretty much making anything possible here in Thailand. They have links. In fact, they pay the immigration department to work with them, and they do a lot of the hard hack work to fix up problems. I mean, if you want paperwork, yeah, the visa agent can usually find it. But these visa agents, principally in Phuket, have been taking people's money and disappearing. Now, the problem I've had with the story is that most of these people won't go on the record. So it's been very hard to actually do anything with this story. But I am following it up. It's a very big problem. There are multi-millions of baht involved. And it's not only in Phuket we've discovered, it's actually happening up in Pattaya and parts of Bangkok, where these same people are using the sort of the guise of a visa agent to take money from good people who are really after some sort of restoration or extension of their visa situation, and end up with a few less baht in their pocket. So we'll do our best to bring you that story in the next couple of weeks. I was speaking of Anutin a bit earlier. Here he is again, and this is in coconuts.co in their Bangkok section. Legalising weed hasn't increased smoking, says Anutin. Now, his Bumjai Thai party ran at the 2019 election on the platform, almost the singular platform, of decriminalising cannabis use for medicinal purposes in Thailand. Interesting, he's been really put on the back foot by the opposition. The opposition basically being the progressive parties in Thailand, are now being forced to oppose Anutin and this particular legislation. Now, the problem is that it has been a bit of a free-for-all since June the 9th, where people have assumed it basically means you can smoke weed anywhere that you want. Now, that is in fact not the case. In fact, there are quite a lot of controls, but they haven't been signed off by the Thai Parliament. So you've got Anutin now really on the back foot trying to say, well, you know, everything's okay. Where are we? Here we are. As of today, Anutin says cannabis has been legal for 2 months. The numbers show the legalisation doesn't lead to an increase in smokers. In contrast, it's made possible for a large number of people to have access to the medicinal uses of cannabis on their own. Obviously, a lot more people having access to cannabis, so I'm not quite sure how he can, in the same sentence, say that it hasn't increased smoking. In fact, it has. And there's been 3 hospitals in Bangkok that have done a study which is in complete contradiction to what Anutin is saying there. And just before we go today, just a very quick check of the Bangkok Post and its front page, which the headline is Top Pick. That story all about people out of Hong Kong and their preference in a survey showing that they would like to fly to Thailand, principally Phuket. So I can't imagine why that they'd like to get out of Hong Kong and lie on a beach instead. But a survey showing that a lot of Hong Kong people looking forward to getting out of there after an extended lockdown. And of course, people wanting to get into Hong Kong have had to undergo a 7-day quarantine. I think that's either going to be or has been reduced to 3 days. Oh, just very quickly, yes, I promised I would check the messages. So I just wanted to very quickly go through some of the messages from yesterday. This was in relation to the proposed 45-day visa being extended from, so this is what the messages were about. It's not a visa. The 30-day visa exemption is when you arrive in the country. A lot of countries have this where they can arrive in Thailand and they can get stamped in without a visa. So it's a visa exemption. And it's that 30-day process they want to extend to 45 days. For the people that get the visa on arrival, and that's usually 15 days, they can arrive and they can go and pay for their visa. They get a visa in their passport, and that 15-day visa, the proposal is to extend that to 30 days. A lot of support for this move from Alan Coughlin. Yes, 45-day visa-free would be helpful. Tactically speaking, a retired American could escape the majority of the winter with a round-trip ticket plus a visa run. Very convenient. I did try to figure out a way of putting these on the screen, but I couldn't figure it out this morning. Having a little bit of brain fog today. And thank you very much for all those kind comments. I need a 4.5-month visa. How do I do that with extensions, etc.? From England, but a tourist visa won't do, and I need to open a bank account as they closed the last two due to the inactivity over the 2-year COVID period. That's the sort of person that needs a visa agent, a qualified visa agent. I would always recommend that you get somebody to recommend somebody they've used. Don't just go to Facebook. And some other comments about the 45-day extended visa. 45 days would be awesome. 30 days right with an extension is a pain. If they can make it 60, 90 days would be perfect. That's from RS. And 45 days would definitely cut down on visa runs, says KC. Alan Curtis, not quite so confident about the whole process. Visa on arrival, confusion. Well, actually, it's just a proposal at the moment, extending the visa exemption from 30 days to 45 days, and for the visa on arrival, extending that from 15 to 30 days. There's a meeting on August the 19th of the CCSA where it's going to be proposed that these things happen. It has to be discussed with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and also the Immigration Department. I expect it probably will happen and will run till at least the end of this year, but nothing more than a proposal at the moment. And with that, we thank you very much for joining us on Tim Newton today. Hopefully we've brought you up to date with some of the more important stories around the region. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Please subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you then.